Mr. Massiah, the closing of the bridge bank operation has been done. Does this mean that all conditions have been respected? What are the next steps?
We've been going through a quite complex process of sequence authorizations, starting from the antitrust authority to the authority monitoring the competition in Brussels, DG Comp, the European Central Bank Supervisor in Frankfurt, and altogether we've been able to complete this articulated process on time and with a significant success, in my opinion, given the fact that this is the first time that a group of banks that were part of the non-performing banks of the system have been authorized to be acquired by a private investor as we are. It has been difficult also because the conditions to the closing were also regarding the sale of 2.2 assets that were carved out. These were a non-perform asset, and this has been also the first real Atlante fund transaction that has been completed. So altogether we have been going through many first time in the Italian system with a success rate that has been 100%, and so we're very proud of it. Obviously next steps will be first the management of the transitional period. This will be driven through the chairmanship of all this bank by Osvaldo Ranica, who is a member of the board and he's a very experienced person. And it will drive to the conversion on the UBI IT system that will be completed by the first quarter of the year 2018, and at the end of this transition process, these banks will be incorporated and in the, to become part of the single bank project that has been completed within our previous perimeter last 20th of February. So let me say, good job.
UBI Banco presents an update of its business plan. Which are the most relevant aspects?
On the bridge banks part of the story, obviously this is a turnaround story. To be a turnaround story, we have to aggressively cut costs, which will mean, as everybody expects, the exit of many headcounts and the reduction of many headcounts, and at the same time the conversion to the current UBI IT system, which will generate a very significant saving in terms of cost of information technology within the group. Second, we have a clear and important reduction of the cost of risk just because of the carve-out I was describing before as a precondition to the closing. We will have only unlikely to pay and no bad loans within the perimeter, and this obviously drives to an important reduction of cost of risk. Third, but very important too, and very important contribution to the profitability will be the reduction of the cost of funding, because obviously the cost of risk perceived by the retail customers on the three bridge banks is going to be completely different and reduced by these bridge banks entering within the UBI perimeters, and normalizing the cost of funding to what is today the cost of funding of UBI. It's obviously a huge contributor in terms of revenues because of the reduction of the negative markdown. Within the UBI old perimeter, we are updating data regarding in particular revenues because of lower level of growth in the loans part of the story. Economy is rebounding, but not in such a way to generate an important demand of loans. Still we will be on a compounded average growth rate, annual rate of about 5% of revenues per single year, which will drive, together with an additional reduction of costs and strong control of cost to risk, to a net result of above 1 billion and a return on tangible equity above 10% by year 2020, helped, of course, also by the extraordinary contribution of the tax deductions that we are inheriting by the bridge banks. So altogether, very important industrial transaction that is helped also by the tax shields that we're inheriting. Altogether, in my opinion, a very good transaction.
How do you judge the first quarter 2017 results, which are the last standalone results?
We have been doubling in the normalized results. In particular, it was 42 million after tax and in 2016, and this year is 84 million. The reason we are doubling is a combination of different factors. Again, factor number one is still cost of risk. It has been reducing, and in my opinion, it's very important that both gross and net non-performing have been reducing. The stock has been reducing, and also the flow coming from performing is continuously reducing. It's been important, the reduction of year 2016. We were back to what was pre-crisis results, but this year is even lower than that, at least in the first quarter. Cost management is still very good. We are below what was the previous year floor, and we're continuously reducing. And on the revenue side, still difficult, the NII. It's obvious that with a lower level of demand of loans and quite tight spread, we're still suffering on that. But on the other side, fee-based business has been continuously growing, and this is quite an historical result. It's the first quarter that where fee-based are higher than NII. Altogether, anyway, a growth in the revenues, helped also by the trading part of the story, and this altogether, as a mix of different results, has driven to the doubling of the normalized result. The stated results have been influenced by the additional devaluation of the Fondo Atlanta stake and the additional contribution to the guarantee fund, the resolution fund, but again, this is still driving to a result above 67 million. That is a very good result historically as a first quarter of the year, and is, in my opinion, a good indicator of a bank that is, let's say, exiting from the crisis period that has been characterized the Italian system and coming quite strong and in a way ready to let's say, harvest all the seeding has been made in the previous years.